The steam from the bathroom rose in dense waves, enveloping everything in an opaque blanket. The mirror was completely fogged up, but I didn't need to see him to know he was there. He was always there. His silence was almost as palpable as the heat of the water that still ran down my body. Since I was 15, since my body began to take shape in a different way, more rounded, more evident, I noticed something that should never have been noticed. The look. A look that didn't belong to a simple man, but to a guard, a jailer. Attentive, detailed, rigid. He observed as if each new curve was a painful reminder of something he had lost, something he had never said, something that should never be. I swallowed hard. My voice came out fragile, almost trembling. The towel, please. The silence stretched, as if it wanted to test me, to provoke me. Then, soft footsteps. The rustle of the towel being pulled. The surrender was slow, absurdly slow. The fabric slid into my hands with the patience of a sculptor who molds something precious, something unique. Each fiber touching my skin seemed to carry an invisible weight, an unspoken secret. "Thank you," I murmured, but he had already moved away. I dried myself slowly, slower than necessary. As if each movement was calculated, as if each drop of water needed to be wiped away with precision. I knew that, outside, he remained motionless, listening, waiting, perhaps counting my sighs, measuring my minutes, deciphering my silences. And in that instant, in that tiny warm space, I realized that my body was not just mine. It was being watched, calculated, guarded, as if I were a memory, as if I were a sin. When I opened the door, he was there as I had predicted, sitting in the leather armchair, his glasses on the tip of his nose, his eyes fixed on me over the lenses. "You're dripping on the floor," he said, without looking up from the newspaper. "Sorry." I grabbed the rag from under the sink, there was always one there, stiff from years of soapy water, and knelt down to mop up the puddle. I could feel his gaze on my back, on the waist exposed by the shirt that had ridden up when I bent over. It was a look that didn't belong to this time, heavy, loaded with a nostalgia that I couldn't name. That's when I saw, under the sink, near the cleaning bucket, there was a stain, a little yellowish on the tile, a liquid that had already hardened and that reminded me of something I had known for a long time and was probably a moment of his, that he had cultivated alone, since his beloved left. That night passed and early in the morning, he woke up, left me a delicious coffee and said he would be home a little later that day. Realizing this, while I was still wearing simple pajamas, but which enhanced the melons, I was thinking at that moment about what kind of meal I could offer him, already knowing that he would arrive tired and hungry. The day passed slowly. It seemed like an invitation from time for me to prepare something more special. I went to a small shop nearby, with the intention of looking for something more exotic and different, so that he could savor it and sleep peacefully. The night was coming and he arrived very late that day, around 8 p.m. He was tired. He left his boots in a corner and went straight to the kitchen. Meanwhile, I was still almost finishing that dinner, there with my back to him, inviting. During a wonderful dinner, I was so focused on doing my best that I didn't even notice that there was a view of my curves that the simple dress was not able to completely cover. It was as if the level was just below the waist. When he finished that delicious dinner, he told me about his busy day and how much he needed to rest. I took his plate and asked him to go rest, that I would clean the kitchen and only later would I take a shower and go to bed. Later, I got in the shower. The bathroom was enveloped in hot mist, the steam drawing spirals in the air, like incense smoke, while my body whispered in waves. And once again, I had forgotten the towel. I needed to call him. He, so quickly, arrived in seconds and offered me the white one. His eyes, the color of coffee kept in a clay jar, never left, watching through the translucent shower, where the silhouette was outlined in diffuse curves, like an ancient fresco in the rain. "I left it here," he said, placing the towel on the edge of the sink, next to the bottle of almond oil that I always used. After that moment of rest, at a certain point, while the door was slightly open, the soap fell to the floor and I couldn't pick it up because it slipped through my fingers. His movements were deliberately slow, like someone picking up a fallen flower without touching the thorns. I watched the way the shirt fit his broad shoulders, worked over years in a ceramic studio. He picked up the towel from the sink, intending to hand it to me. Extending his hand, I could feel the light touch on my fingers. "Thank you," I whispered, wrapping myself in the fabric. He didn't move away, his gaze tracing the line of water that ran down his neck to the valley between his breasts, but not like a hunter, like a geographer mapping a sacred river. I turned my back to finish using the fabric. The shower was already half open. It felt like I was testing another frequency, the same one that existed on the days when I was hungry. He had just hit a big scene. His lucky day was just beginning. His hands communicated with pressure on the curve that comprised his hip, while he observed a tool in the best possible working condition, guiding him as if teaching him to sign his own name. The tool's contact was precise, almost like a perfect fit in an open hole that was waiting to be drilled that day. I could smell the jasmine from the fallen soap, but they were irrelevant compared to the low moans, almost conversations and sighs, as the work continued steadily. The hands were close to the valve. The tool knew its way, going back and forth between its skillful and qualified movements. It could not reach the bottom, as there was no room for comfort. As we reached the end of the long walk, I looked back, watching pure physics act, poking anxiously near the belly, like a kind of biology class. After the final work, we would have to make a decision to stop the tool's work. It was as if a biological signature was deposited behind it, a specific heat that ran in serpentine lines that resembled rivers, marked by the end of hard work, meeting the sweat on the back. I hope you enjoyed this story and had a lot of fun. Did you like this story? So, leave a comment telling us what you thought, and, if you've experienced something similar, share it with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss any new content. Here, we always bring life stories, reflections, and real experiences, all with great sincerity. Thank you for watching until the end and for being part of this journey. See you in the next video.